Our next speaker is a principles engineer. He likes to know how things work under the hood. He loves building things and solving complex problems, regardless of the domain, that can move the human race forward. That's very heavy. But let's continue. He strongly believes in R&D, which is research and development, and he feels there is so much information locked in nature, and by looking closely at nature, we can unlock great opportunities, right? Ladies, gentlemen, and whatever else you identify as, can we give a very loud ovation for Ugochukwu Aronu?
Good morning, everybody. Uh, Thank you, the host, for this nice intro. Well, yeah, thanks, everybody. I'm very excited to be here. And I noticed the colors, people wearing the native attire. So while I was coming, something was like, because I always have this problem of picking what to wear. I wish I could just wear one thing. It's one of the biggest challenges, right? What do you wear? So I said, okay, let me just wear this traditional outfit. But coming to see a lot of people dressed the same way, I'm really happy. And I love the fact that we can identify as, Nigerians, you have your cultural identification is really good. So please put your hands together for yourselves. Thank you. Okay, so I'm supposed to deliver a keynote, and also I'm sorry for coming in a bit late. Communication problems, right? But yeah, thank you very much for still giving me this opportunity. Um, so my name is Ugochukwu Aronu, and one very important thing I really want to mention this morning is, about um, people understanding what difficulty is or complexity, right? I know we're here for GDG, and I also have to give it up for the GDG team. Godson, the guys there. Um, well, I don't know, I've not seen T-Boy today, but T-Boy is an OG. For people who don't know, I don't know how many of you are on the GDG group on WhatsApp. On WhatsApp, you're on the GDG group on what? GDG Enugu group on WhatsApp, right? That group has been there. If you check the date it was created, how many of you have checked the date? It was created in 2016. So that group is 8 years old. And 8 years is a long time, really, when it comes to technology. That group has seen very good engineers come and build great things. And in that group, you have people in different parts of the world, top engineers in top companies in different parts of the world. They don't talk every time, but they see every single thing going on there, right? And I have to give it up for GDG. And also our companies, like something like Zen, Asset Chain, Ycrypt, companies we've built, or Google, and all that, like, and our gaming companies. These companies would not exist if not because of GDG, right? Because GDG basically created the foundation, the ecosystem for us to even try and hire people, right? So I really want to give it up for the GDG team. Well done, guys. So moving to the speech, not really a speech, but more of a conversation about, complexity. One of the major challenges we have here, so we're in a conference, this is a tech conference, right? And one of the major challenges, or one of the major things I have seen, so my background is in engineering, and I've been building for, personally, a decade now, but next year, we'll make it professionally when I got my first official job as a software engineer, right? So 2025 will make it a decade professionally, but I mean, building on my own, it's been a decade, right? That's 10 years. And one thing we usually see is that people think, okay, you just come into tech, you make money overnight, right? It's not a bad thing to have that motivation. I once had that motivation, but it's always important to understand that if you're building anything, whether you're working for a company, whether you're building your own startup, you need to understand what complexity truly means and the impact it can create. First, I don't know how many of you know NVIDIA. Good. NVIDIA is worth, I think, over $3 trillion now. And building something like NVIDIA it seems impossible, right? But when you go back to like the CEO, the founder, Jensen Huang, right? Started it 30 years ago when he was 30 years old, tried to just make computer graphics better. But he didn't even know where to start. And then he picked up that challenge, how to improve computer graphics. Now, he's not trying to build an app, right? Or maybe a school management system or something. He's trying to improve computer graphics. It took them decades to get it right. And we are seeing where NVIDIA is powering almost all the AI companies now, right? That system is very complex. But then what people do not understand is what it comes with. It comes with a lot of suffering and pain. I'm not here to make you feel uncomfortable. But the truth is, if you're going to excel in anything, whatever domain in tech, whether it's healthcare, finance, robotics, artificial intelligence, you need to have, one, low expectations. Two, you need to have tenacity, right? And you need to really understand that suffering and pain, a lot of it is part of the journey. And it's not something that you do in 1 year. Microsoft is, I think, about 48 years old. Some people, I don't think there's anybody up to 40 here. Is there anybody up to 40 here? Good. Tesla is about 22 years old. Maybe I'm sure some people here might be 19. So some of the things you see like Elon and some of these guys build great stuff. NVIDIA is about 31 years or so. A few people are up to 30 here, I can tell you, right? So when you look at those companies, you understand what it takes to build great businesses or even to contribute. And part of this conference, or this conference shouldn't be around just coming to listen to some people, take pictures. I know maybe it's something that we used to do, but I would really like us to have a different mindset about events like this. Why? Is that events like this are events that are supposed to propel you to think, propel you to want to solve very difficult problems. For very simple problems, you really don't need to come and sit down here. For very simple problems, you can get information online, right? But for very complex problems, which are the things that would actually move the human race forward, you need to actually interact with people. So when you understand how complex things are, you would actually realize that, look, it takes a lot to do very, very great job. And there is this saying by Elon, I saw it, Elon Musk, he was like, it's possible for ordinary people to choose to be extraordinary. Some people might think, oh, maybe I have to be very intelligent, I have to be this, maybe I need to be an A grader in school before I can do stuff. No, you don't. You just need to start and focus on something. And one thing I've learned is that doing the hard work or doing things that are very complex over time makes life easier for you than doing very simple things like, oh, you just want to create a website. You also want to build something straightforward, right? That's always the message I preach now when I speak to engineers or people, because we need to do more. And that takes me to the third part of the keynote, which is bringing it back to us here in Enugu State or in Nigeria. Let me look at Nigeria. If you guys look at this country, I know a couple of people might just be planning their next exit. Actually, I have a couple of recommendations waiting for me to sign for people looking for global talent visa, right? And these are like very cool engineers in Nigeria that, I've done like 6 or 7 recommendations in the last 1 year. And all these guys are outside the country. It's not a bad thing, don't get me wrong. It's not bad. that people are going outside the country. But the question is this: even if you're leaving, or even if you're here, what's the goal? What's your plan for the next 10 years, 20 years? And when I look at Enugu State, when I look at Nigeria, I think we have so much value. I think we have a lot to offer, starting with the demography of the people in the city of Enugu, young people like you. Some of you might still be in universities, some of you might just be finishing. The truth is that the value you guys are bringing is so immense, but the problem is that most times people don't see that potential. They don't see what they carry in them, right? And that's why here at the GDG event, one of the major things I would like to encourage us to do, it's going to be a great conference, but one of the things that I will encourage us to do is, as people who are here, think about ways of reimagining existing systems, no matter how hard it is. As a young person, I know maybe you want to drive the latest car, you want to do this like this other person. Those things will come. But if you do not have something to offer, it will become impossible for you to attain it. A lot of you are using ChatGPT, Cloud, or IDEs like Cursor AI. Sorry, I'll digress a bit. I'm an engineer, I do hardware, I do software. I basically do anything I need to do. I'm not restricted by domain. But there's code I wrote in like 2 months. I wrote like 2 months ago. I haven't done that kind of work in almost a year. But I had to just get something done to make my team work faster. I just pulled up the Cursor IDE. It's an AI IDE. Plugged in my code. Just worked with the AI tool for like something that I know would have taken me maybe like 2 weeks. I did it in less than 6 hours. What does it tell you? It tells you that hiring would drop massively, right? Maybe I would have said, oh, let's hire a couple of people to do this stuff. But guess what? I could do it on my own with an AI tool. And with most AI tools, they would replace almost everybody here with mundane software, with regular software. No matter how nice. Even with gaming, video games, they are now AI-based game engines. You can talk to them and they can create games, but still at experimental level, but they would still evolve. What does that leave us? That leaves us only in a situation where we can exist or become relevant when we actually solve extremely difficult problems. Problems like NVIDIA solved by improving the graphics of computers, improving compute of computers. Nowadays, one of the biggest challenges people have is, where do I host my software? I know us, we spend lots of thousands of dollars every month paying for servers, Google Cloud, AWS, all these things. It costs us a lot of money. You might get credits, but eventually those credits will run out. You have to spend money. Whenever the bills come to our card, my heart is always, what's the word in medical school? Is it palpating or palpitating or whatever, right? And I'm like, okay, this thing is tough. These are fundamental problems that people can solve here. I saw one guy, he sent me something. He said that they are using old computers to create like a connected system of servers that people can use to host blockchain apps or whatever. That's been brilliant. The thing is, we need to be able to solve fundamental problems that AI tools cannot readily solve now. It might not be done in 1 year, even if it's in the next decade. These are the things that will separate us from every other person. Also, tech might sound interesting, but I've seen a lot of tech guys get to some point in tech and they're like, it's not what they expected. They will move to other types of businesses, importation, selling clothes. These are guys that used to write code well. Honestly, right? It's my job to tell you the truth, because at least I've been in this space long enough to understand what's going on. And it's not just in Nigeria, even abroad. I have a brother who is a senior engineer in Canada. I have a friend who is a senior engineer in the US. These guys are good, but jobs are so difficult to get now. And guess what? AI is replacing a lot of these engineers. It's already here. The question is, what would you do? How many of you have, I don't know, has anyone been inside a Tesla before? Or any car that has vision? Like any car, maybe some of these new cars that when you're in them, they visualize the environment. You can see other vehicles and all that. Has anybody been in any of those cars before? Here. Okay. Good. Sorry, no. Some people raise their hands behind, right? No. You trust me. You shouldn't laugh at it. It's not something to. I mean, if you've not been in them, it's not a problem. Now, those cars, you can just Google Tesla, right? How Tesla, like the vision, the sensors, how they sense the environment. You see it. So if you're on the vehicle, what it does is, even if there are 100 vehicles, it will map all of them on your screen, and that's how. Also, full self-driving, FSD, if you've heard of it, that's how it understands collision detection, understands how to avoid other vehicles. That technology isn't proprietary to Tesla. I just read some days ago that there is a guy, I've forgotten his name, that re-engineered the detection of obstacles on the road. Because if you use normal sensors, it takes a lot of time to collect the data, interpret it, before the machine or the vehicle makes a decision. Maybe you've even jammed the object, right? Or you've collided with the object. But this guy redesigned this system and made it very efficient that a lot of these car companies now use his IP, his technology. You don't need to see him, but this guy makes a lot of money. And he's a young person, right? Why I'm saying this is that there are so many things that you can solve that AI tools will not be able to solve even in the next 10 years. But as a human being, you need to be able to look at these systems at their fundamental level. I'll give you an example. These air conditioners that we see here, right? We have about 4 of them placed at certain angles, right? And they are kind of working. I know some people might be hot, but I can tell you, if this room is filled up, these ACs might not suffice. But do you know that it is possible that there is an angle, you will place these same 4 ACs, and it would chill this place, even if there are times 2 the number of people here. That's the kind of thinking that people should start thinking. Reimagining systems, even if they are existing systems, reimagining these systems from ground up, from first principles. You might sound like a fool, like, oh, this thing is not possible. But like, even this microphone we're using, who says it's efficient, right? Do you think it's possible that I can even use this microphone and as I'm speaking, because there's a lot of echo, there's reverberation everywhere. With the same microphone, it can be re-engineered such that as I'm speaking, you hear it clearly. Maybe all you just need to do is to take a patch or something and just put it near your ear. Anybody coming into this place will just put that patch. Very easy. You hear it clearly. These are things that can change the whole sound industry. And that's what I encourage people here to be doing. I mean, I have companies that, okay, do stuff on the blockchain and all that. I can easily come and sell it. Oh, go and build on asset chain, deploy this. That's not why I'm here, right? It's beyond business. We want to see the next generation of superstar engineers, entrepreneurs come from not just Nigeria, but from Enugu. And it has to be the young people. That's just the truth, right? So, please, it's very important that we understand what it takes to make systems scale. It's important that we understand the complexity required. And at this point, we are basically backed up against a wall. You don't have an alternative. A lot of you sitting here now will be like, oh, don't worry, I'll do 1 or 2 job tests. Oh, people are looking for interns. In about 1 year, those positions will not exist. AI tools will replace a lot of you. I don't know how many of you saw the news where the CEO of Google said that 30% of Google's code is written by AI. How many of you saw that? Good. If you've ever visited Google before, I was there in 2019, their headquarters in Palo Alto in the US. When you get there, you would understand that, look, we're not, like, you can, I could just, when he said that, I was imagining the number of people that won't even have jobs. Google is like a city, not like, it is a city in America, right? That where they are, you have everything there. So you can imagine, even at that level, these guys have leveraged artificial intelligence and they are not stopping. So it means that we have to do more. I'm not here to bust your bubbles, like I said. I really want everybody to succeed, but it's going to be almost impossible if we keep on with the trajectory, right, of, okay, we just have a hackathon, you do UI design, you do maybe one bot, or you download one API, run one server, call some things, and you're like, I want the hackathon. You go home with $100, you go home with $1,000, and you think you have arrived. You're not even remotely close to where you're going, where you're supposed to be. Because it will get to a point where even the people you admire as great software engineers, none of them would have a job anymore. I remember when we started off then, people would say, I can write 9 languages. I can write 5 languages. I look at these people, even at that time, I'm like, these people don't know anything. Like, if you know one, know it well. That's the most important thing. But now, when I'm talking to people, I'm no longer interested in what can you really write. The thing is, do you really understand how to solve problems? Because the AI will do the damn job for me. That's the truth. So you coming to say, I can write C#, I can write Golang, I can write all these things. Eventually, all those things will be meaningless. I can just say, tell the AI, oh, I need this thing. Where it's getting to is that I can tell the AI, oh, I need an application that, counts the number of people that enters a room or something. Deploy it for me. It will just deploy, give you the URL. And it will ask you for your credit card and you will pay. So without wasting much of your time, I would really, really like to leave you guys with this. Don't solve simple problems. Even if it's in software, hardware, even if you're fixing cars, whatever you're doing, try to understand what is going on there. Even if it's in medicine, I come from a family of doctors, and excuse me, you realize that medical tools are actually very expensive, right? The electronic equipment are expensive. Can we even re-engineer some of these equipment? Make simpler versions that can be cheaper for people here. These are things that will make us stand out, right? I really want to thank everybody for listening to me, and I hope that after, the conference, or when you get back, you can have a rethink, really, on the reason why you're even entering tech, and don't see this thing as a cash cow, as something that just come and make money. See it as something where you actually make a difference, but it's not going to be done in a year. It's not going to be done in 2 years. It will take up to 10 years. I always like to ask people, this thing you're doing, if you want to get into something, ask yourself, can I commit at least 10 years of my life without maybe saying, this is not working. Let me sell small clothes. Let me hustle something. That kind of thing. I'm not saying you cannot hustle if you need to eat, but the point is you need to be able to ask yourself that question and be genuinely, honest. Thank you very much, everybody.